So it's a good day. It's a good day. I'll try and get a couple of videos out tonight. So first and foremost, for local or for national, Bojo, the cowardice clown, his prorogue has been deemed illegal by the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, the be all and end all. Not left, not right, not Brexit, not Remain, not any of that crap. Specifically looking at exact laws and ignoring the background BS. Boris Johnson unequivocally lied. He lied to the Queen and he broke the law. Now, the ramifications of that, personally, I don't see Boris suffering an actual law offence like pretty much anyone else would. Because bear in mind, Theresa May's government was held in contempt. She has stopped investigations of the illegal actions that the Vote Leave campaign took, especially in taking money from outside the UK. A foreign body funded Vote Leave, and Theresa May forced that investigation to stop. This is an incredibly serious scenario, serious situation, and the Prime Minister stopped it to whispers. That's it. That's what it was met with. Fucking whispers. So yeah, in terms of Bojo breaking the law in this case, I don't think he'll face any serious repercussions. But he has made a joke out of the Queen, out of the monarchy, because it comes down to one of two things, and I very loosely want to touch on a comment that was left in one of the last videos. Either the Queen couldn't realise that Bojo was lying to her, in which case she went along with it, and fucking hell, you have to be pretty damn dumb, or she knew that she was being lied to and her hands were tied, so she willingly became a tool for an incompetent sociopath, pathological liar, so he could use her as a weapon to strip our parliament of its power. Interesting. Very interesting from a very prominent Brexiteer voice. And again, you'd think if someone had integrity that she would have looked at Boris and made a public statement saying, look, I can't do it. I cannot sign this because regardless of where you stand on Brexit, the Prime Minister has lied. My Prime Minister has lied to me, so I cannot sanction this. And one of two things would happen. In other arguments with a few friends who are very pro-monarchy, they'd said in a situation where the Queen doesn't do as she's told, then she'll be removed from power. Clearly she hasn't actually got any fucking power if she can't control what she does. Or they'll get away with her. They'll send her away. Then let her be sent away. She doesn't actually play a role in politics. There is absolutely no benefit to having the monarchy entwined with our political system whatsoever. They are useless figureheads, and the only actual purpose that they can serve is part out of tradition, but mostly in situations like this where a disgusting scumbag of a human being who fails at every measure of being a good man can use her as a tool to not just embarrass the country, but to do what his slightly smarter mates are telling him to do. Again, doesn't make this country look very good, especially if if Brexit does go ahead and we have to announce to the world, hey, we're pretty damn great and you definitely want to do business with us, but, just remember, we're the people who allowed the fucking moron to lie to our Queen and make us look like embarrassments. Awesome. But immediate consequences. Parliament, in theory, will go back tomorrow. Boris Johnson doesn't actually have to do anything. Wednesdays are normally Prime Minister's question times. Obviously, he's fled the country like the coward he is. Incredibly spectacular failure of a coward as well. So I don't think that'll be that. But legally speaking, there's nothing Boris has to do. Legally speaking, Parliament was never prorogued in the first place because it was a lie. It was an unlawful lie. So again, legally speaking, all this means is that for the past week and a half, 2 weeks, members of Parliament just haven't turned up. That leads into my final part of this. What Parliament will actually do. Now, it does get a little bit complicated, but essentially the leader of the governing party, which for argument's sake is Conservatives. The leader of the Conservatives doesn't necessarily have to be the Prime Minister. There was nothing in our laws that said that Boris Johnson had to be Prime Minister whatsoever. On day one of him going into number 10, our members of Parliament could have said, forgetting on left-right issues, forgetting on Brexit, forgetting on all that crap, they could have got together and said, well, going through this man's career, he is a pathological liar. He is a failure in every single aspect, but because of his political class, because of his stature, he's been allowed to fail upwards. But he is unfit to be Prime Minister. They absolutely had that right, they absolutely had that power, and they absolutely fucked the country because they didn't do it. And even as a Corbyn supporter, yes, he is just as guilty as every other knuckle in that building. Trying to be polite despite all the other swearing I've done. So they could oust Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson could be forced out. I don't think they could actually force him to resign. I think they would. They'd certainly have to actually sack him. Essentially, he doesn't strike me as the kind of person who resigns. I mean, I know he resigned as Foreign Secretary, but that was a ploy to screw over May to get into number 10. That's the only reason he did it. And this is a man who's been fired twice before for lying. So they could effectively sack him, but it would take them to actually work together. And how many times before have we seen the Liberal Democrats screw the country at the last moment? We had it at the start of the year when Corbyn tabled an issue of no confidence for Theresa May, and the Liberal Democrats sided with Theresa May. I said at the time, it's not just Brexit, it's universal credits. It's destroying our NHS, it's destroying our education, it's fucking over our police, our military, our fire and rescue, our social care. It is destroying all of these things that this country needs to thrive. These are not social drains on our country. These are economic booms because they invest in the country. Austerity does not work. We have fucking proven it. Giving the wealth to the top does not work because they don't put the money back into the UK. They keep it. Socialist programs stimulate national economy. It is a demonstrable fact. But yeah, Lib Dems screwed the country by siding with the Conservatives and Theresa May. And it's happened time and time before, even when you go to a number of different Liberal Democrats and you just look at their voting record, Joe Swindon being one of them. It is practically, with a few exceptions, identical to any other Conservative politician. And now the Lib Dems has been flooded with a bunch of Tories who just really don't like Boris Johnson. So Boris could get the sack, but it would take them all to work together. Certainly in a general election, I can't see them winning. Lib Dems might be able to pull something off, but people have to remember now, the Liberal Democrats are practically conservative in every single way. It's just broken promise after screwing the country. But I don't want to think negatively. The positive thought is Boris Johnson has been defeated by the Supreme Court. He unequivocally lied to the Queen. He broke the law. And now this man who has continued to fail upwards is actually starting to face some consequences. That is definitely a victory.